Hi, I'm Keith Weiner, CEO of Monetary Metals. Gold is currently in backwardation. This is an indisputable fact. Last week we published a report called Gold Caught with its Backwardation Showing. The backwardation was at that time 76 cents per ounce. We'll talk about that in a little bit. As of the gold basis letter this weekend published, gold backwardation is about 0.4% annualized. That means that you can earn for less than 60 days in the April gold contract, which will mature in less than 60 days before the end of April. You can make 0.4% decarrying gold, which is far more than you can get in a treasury bill of comparable duration. The silver co-basis is currently at 0. We'll show a chart of that in a little bit. So let's define the mechanics of what we mean when we say co-basis and what we mean by decarry. So let's say you have this bar of gold. You can take this bar of gold, and don't think in terms of speculating in price. This is arbitrage. The arbitrager is simultaneously entering into more than one transaction at exactly the same time, not to speculate on price, but in order to make a spread, typically a very small spread. So the arbitrager can take this bar of gold, simultaneously sell it, and buy a contract for April delivery to recover that bar of gold. So to put this in perspective, if this bar sells for $1,580, he has to pay $1,579.24 for this contract, pocketing the 76 cents. He gets the 76-cent profit up front, by the way. What's interesting about this trade is that by conventional assessment, by anybody in the financial system, there's no risk. There's no exposure to price risk because you've locked in the purchase, the sale and the purchase. There's no exposure to spread risk. There's no exposure to credit risk. You sold this for cash. If you leave the cash in the account, you have 100% of the money necessary to take delivery on this. There's no such thing as a margin call. Everything is locked in. This is a risk-free trade. And yet, the great mystery, which we'll have to discuss in a moment, is that for some reason or other, people are not taking the trade. Now, backwardation can occur in ordinary commodities, for example, wheat. Right before the harvest, a week before the harvest, you would expect that there would be a backwardation in wheat, and the simple answer is nobody has any. In order for this backwardation to go away, somebody has to have the physical material to sell in the physical market and be happy taking delivery via a future sometime 30, 60, 90 days out. In the case of wheat, right before the harvest, nobody has any. In the case of gold and silver, there must be a different explanation, which we'll get to in a moment. So let's put up a chart of the gold and silver co-basis. That is the spread that one can earn by decarrying gold or silver. So as we can see, the co-basis for both gold and silver has been in a sharp rising trend. For silver, right now we're perched on the edge at 0. If the trend continues, silver will tip into backwardation this coming week. So why is backwardation important for a monetary metal, but not necessarily as important for regular commodities such as wheat? Well, we said earlier that in the case of wheat, backwardation occurs when there's a shortage or when there's scarcity right before the harvest. In the case of a monetary metal, both gold and silver have been under accumulation for millennia. 5,000 years is the number I've heard. There is no such thing as a scarcity or as a shortage of the metal in the world. All that metal is out there somewhere, but not available to the market. And so think about this for a second. This is really simple. It's like a paradigm shift to get your brain around, but really profound. What this means is that people do not trust, if they give up their gold in exchange for a paper promise to return the gold in 60 days or 90 days or whatever, then they don't trust in paper delivery of gold, period. Which means, if you don't trust that, there's no reason to trust that you will be able to buy gold in the future. That is a logical corollary of the first. If you don't trust this future, why would you trust that you can buy gold in the future at all? That the gold will still be available for delivery somehow. If you don't trust that, then the problem is you don't trust that you'll be able to buy other physical things either. And so most viewers will probably be familiar with Ludwig von Mises and his term, the crackup boom. Now, people today assume the crackup boom is when the government is going to print the money supply to infinity and therefore prices will go to infinity. We think the crackup boom will be a little bit different. And so let's take a look at what von Mises actually said about the crackup boom. He said, when there is a gigantic false expansion of credit, paraphrasing, these are my words, not his, then there's no choice that the credit is going to collapse. He said the only choice as to whether the credit collapses sooner as a result of voluntary people deciding to allow it to collapse, or whether you try to postpone it as long as possible and eventually collapses involuntarily under its own weight. Clearly that's the path that we're on today. And so if you think about this process of gold withdrawing its trust and ultimately its participation in the system, that those that have dollars still desiring gold, if it's possible to trade your dollars for commodities, then people will bid up the prices of commodities in order to sell it for gold, bid up the prices of commodities even further in order to sell it for gold. And so I've emphasized before that it's important to think of measuring prices not just in dollars but in gold. In the crackup boom, we think that what will happen is the prices of commodities will be rising exponentially in dollar terms and falling exponentially in gold terms. Things will be getting real cheap for those that own gold in the crackup boom. So that's the process that we think will occur. And so in this light and for this reason, we think that following the gold basis and co-basis and gold backwardation is a really, really important signal for anybody who's concerned about our monetary system to be following. Essentially right now we're in the last contango, and as we watch the gold basis shrinking and as we see the front month, the near months, April in gold and May in silver, peaking into backwardation, we see signs that the monetary cancer is spreading and that we are ultimately ending, or going to be ending at some point in the future, the last contango. So what would permanent backwardation actually look like? Unlike what we see now, I think permanent backwardation will have the following signs. First of all, we'll see backwardation across all futures months. We won't simply see it in April gold. We'll see June as the next liquid month, August, October, December, and then all through 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017. And as the price of gold is rising, probably exponentially, we will see the backwardation rising as well, because gold will not be coming to the market as a function of the rising price. Rather, the price will be rising as a function of gold being cut off to the market. That is what we will see in permanent backwardation, and probably accompanied, getting onto this theme of declining trust, nobody trusting their counterparty, we will probably see bankruptcies, waves and waves of bankruptcies, accompanying all this like we saw in 2008. And that would be the reason why you would not want to trust a paper promise to deliver gold. You don't trust your counterparty to even be around in 60 days. So today, that's not what we have. I coined the term temporary backwardation in a paper that I wrote talking about the new normal that's been occurring post-2008. It's not permanent, it's temporary. We see it on the near month. And the obvious explanation is simply this, that gold available to the market is too slow and insufficient to arbitrage away the spread. The co-basis rises rapidly in the near-month future, and the institutions and bullion banks that play in this space simply can't respond fast enough. And so for whatever reason, there is not enough unencumbered gold coming to market to correct this